Call to order for the Town of St. John Town Council meeting for June 25th, 2025. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing for a moment of silence, and if you would maybe keep in mind the Crystal Rivera family, fallen Chicago police officer. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Beth.
Gerald Swett.
Present.
Christian Jorgensen.
Present.
Mike Kovac.
Present.
Ann Oster. Present. Wayne Pondinas.
Present.
Bill Manasopoulos.
Here.
Joe Spetnoff. Here. And Beth Hernandez. Present.
Mr. President, before we get to public comment,
Yes.
if I can have the floor for a moment.
Sure. I'll defer the floor to the town manager, Billy.
So I received a list of questions from a resident. I'd like to say that this project has been going on for over a year and a half. It's been a total team effort between this council, myself, Beth, our financial advisors who are here now, Tom Everett, Greg Balsano, and our lead engineer, Glenn Peterson. We've put a lot of hard work into this. I can tell you that I get the easy part of reading these questions and giving the answers, but I want to say thank you to Beth over there for gathering this information and putting it up for me. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start with these questions. You can go to the next slide, please. So when was this project publicly mentioned? There was a total of 44 times between our social media, our news, our newsletter. That was 44 times. The Northwest Indiana Times, the Post Tribune, and then as far as meetings that were televised and are available still on YouTube to review if you have any questions or if you missed something, that was another 10 times. So a total of 44 times. So I'm not sure how anyone can miss it, but it was there 44 times. If we can go to the next thing. What is the total project cost, projected cost of the project? Why is the town issuing 19.8 million in bonds? If the project is estimated at 15, what are the bond issuance fees? So the bonds are expected to provide at most approximately 19.3 million in proceeds. The remaining portion of the estimated 19.8 million total principal amount will be allocated to cover financing related costs. The town will not issue these bonds until competitive bids have been received. In the final project, if financing costs are lower than the 19.8 million, the town will reduce the bond issuance accordingly to match the actual required amount. The preliminary estimated financing costs are $455,000. These costs are mainly attributed to underwriting, bond counsel, municipal advisors, local attorney fees, and bond rating costs. It's necessary to have these items done by these individuals. This is in their wheelhouse, and this is what they do. If we can go to the next one, please. What is the total debt service on the bonds, and what is the tax rate? If the project comes in at the maximum amount of 19.8 million, the estimated total interest cost for the bonds would be approximately 17.1 million over a 20-year period, at an interest rate ranging between 5.4 and 6.3 for the taxable bonds, and 4.1 and 5.3 for the tax-exempt bonds. The average debt service rate for the town between 2019 was 0.0836. The average debt service tax rate for the town during the life of the proposed bonds with a 3% net assessed value growth is 0.0801, excuse me. It's important to note that this assumes a 3% net assessed value growth, and the town, over the past 5 years, has experienced a average growth of 9.8%. Assuming a 3% growth of the net assessed value, the town debt service tax rate will remain approximately neutral.
And Greg, do you mind if we continue to grow at the 9.8%? What will that do to these tax rates?
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Greg Balsano, Baker Tilly Municipal Advisor, serve as financial advisor for the town and work on these bonds specifically. If the assessed value, so in Indiana, it is driven by assessed value and levy. So if the debt payment will be set once the bonds are closed and sold, then what would happen is the higher the assessed value would grow, the lower the tax rate that would need to be to support that debt service.
Okay, thank you.
Greg. If we can go to the next slide, please. What will the average financial impact be on residents? The average tax rate for the town between 2019 through 2025 was 0.4488. If the project cost comes in at the maximum amount of 19.8 million, the average tax rate for the town during the life of the proposed bond with a 3% net assessed value growth is 0.4250. It's important to note this assumes a 3% net assessed value, and the town has experienced an average growth of 9.8 per year for the last 5 years. Again, assuming a 3% growth, the town tax rate will remain neutral. Thank you. Turn my mic on too. If the bond is being issued at 19.8, wouldn't that require a control project referendum since the limit is 18,318? This project is not subject to referendum. The correct referendum threshold for the year 2025 is 19.81. The figure stated in the question was, it's outdated. It's 2 years old, so that figure was not correct. Will residents have an opportunity to voice their concerns about this project? The town has held 4 public hearings specific to the bond. The town allows public comment at all of its meetings. We encourage everyone to feel free to voice any questions or concerns during public comment. Residents are also encouraged to reach out to any elected official that's up here, myself, by phone, email, or in person. We operate with an open door policy. Again, we are a town of 23,000 plus and growing. So if it doesn't get done pretty quick, it's not because of any other reason other than there's 23,000 other people that we're servicing. Given the town's other financial needs, do financial advisors believe this is the best use of funds? Financial advisors are hired by the municipalities for debt management, financial planning, and regulatory compliance, and financial guidance. Financial advisors defer the municipalities on the best use of funds. However, when this question was asked to our financial advisor, he stated, "I can say the town has the capacity for a tax rate neutral debt with the net assessed value growth it has experienced in the maturity of the outstanding property tax supported bonds." So these guys are here to tell us if we can do it, not what we should do with it. So again, with their opinions and their backgrounds, this council, myself, felt very confident in their opinion. What are the projected annual operating and maintenance costs? These facilities are intended to be and have proved themselves to be revenue producing and self-supporting. That being said, below depicts the draft preliminary operating and maintenance budget based on similar facilities. Personal services, $100,000, supplies, $10,000, services, $100,000. That comes out to about $17,500 a month or $210,000 annually. And with conversations from some of our neighboring towns, I can tell you that they had no issue telling us that what they're doing and what they're taking in far exceeds what they put into it as far as operating costs.
Well, and I don't want to get in the weeds too
No,
much,
go
but
ahead.
this was interesting. The splash pad portion of the project as compared to our current, we have a splash pad at Huron Lake. And Wayne can speak to this too. So the splash pad at Huron Lake, the water, when it's used, it just goes down the drain. It's not recirculated. In the proposed splash pad, it's going to be recirculated. So based on the numbers that we were provided, that we would actually lose in water, I think it was anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 gallons per day. When you calculate that out for a season of what the town will pay in a water bill, we're looking at somewhere around a total of $700 for the season in our water bill. That's as compared to, we're like $10,000 a season at Huron Lake. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to note, that the design of this project is, and yes, it's going to have more upfront costs to recirculate the water and everything, but the long-term benefit is going to really outweigh what we're doing right now at Huron Lake.
Correct.
I think Heron Lake uses maybe 1 million gallons a year, and that's just going down the drain with the recycled water. It's more cost up front, but you're going to save money in the long run, and the juice is worth the squeeze on this one.
And I'm not saying it's only using 1,500 gallons. I'm saying that's what, Glenn, what was the total? You said 54,000 for the tank or something along that?
If we were to do a pass-through system like you have currently at Heron Lake, operating on a 12-hour cycle here with the 750 gallon per minute flow rate that this splash pad is going to have, we'd be looking at 500,000 gallons per day. So it's something that wouldn't even support.
No.
We wouldn't be able to operate this if it wasn't a recirculated system here.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, Beth, Wayne. If we can go to the next one. If I'm already paying for these amenities in my taxes, why would I have to pay a fee to use these amenities? User fees allow the towns to recoup costs associated with the upkeep of the facility, generate miscellaneous revenues for the town, ensure that the people who use the amenities contribute to the upkeep and operation rather than burdening the general tax base, and maintain financial stability. Again, with what we have planned, I don't see anyone, or most people, complaining about a small user fee to have access to these facilities. We can go to the next one. My current special district tax is $200. What is the range of the expected increases, or will this additional tax stay the same? The special district tax reference in this question has absolutely nothing to do with the bond issuance or any other bond within the town's budget for that matter. The special district tax reference in the question is related to the sanitary, water, and Lake County solid waste district, and you can see on the slide what those tax rates are. You can give them a second so they can look at it. Could I have the next one?
Just say de minimis.
What's that?
De minimis.
Yes. Next question is, will alcohol be sold at the facility? And if so, what are the expected impacts on police and first responders? Adult beverages may be available for purchase during certain approved special events. If it is available, sales will be handled similarly how they are handled at the current special events such as the town's Freedom Fest. Any vendor or organization serving adult beverages must comply with all the applicable state laws and town special event regulations. Additionally, the vendor or organization is required to pay an hourly fee directly to our off-duty officers for security services. So we're not taking guys that are on the street and posting them up at the splash pad or the amphitheater. This will be off-duty officers that are paid directly from there. We pass this question along to Chief Flores and Chief Adams. Chief Flores said, we do not anticipate a significant increase in policing demands solely due to the presence of alcohol at certain events, provided the responsible service practices are followed and the security plans are in place. That said, with any venue serving alcohol, we are all trained and equipped to manage a situation that may arise. And that was our police chief Flores. Chief Adams stated, we don't typically see a significant increase in fire or EMS responses solely due to the presence of alcohol, at certain events or establishments. When responsible service practices are followed and safety plans are in place, the likelihood of increased fire and EMS responses are reduced. We always ensure that we have the appropriate fire and EMS staffing, are in compliance with local ordinance and state laws. And again, that was from Fire Chief Adams. Sorry. We're going to go ahead to the next one. What traffic studies have been conducted beyond one roundabout? What traffic mitigation measures are planned? A traffic service study was completed for the intersection at 109th and White Oak as part of the roundabout project. Added travel lanes are being included on 109th. Passing lane will also be included on White Oak. During larger events, a secondary entrance will be provided on White Oak for overflow parking. With most of these, we basically have two busy times with our traffic. It's when everyone's leaving for work and when everyone's coming home from work. When we're leaving these places at 7, 8 o'clock at night, I mean, I encourage anyone to come out there and sit with us and count the cars that are going down 109th and White Oak. It's not bumper to bumper. It's not a traffic jam. So again, will it be a little bit busy when we're letting out? Yes. But with what we do with our PD and our first responders, they get everyone in and out pretty quick. And anyone who went to our Freedom Fest last year can see, I mean, I was in the parking lot with thousands of cars and got out within 20 or 25 minutes. So if we can go to the next one, please. Have noise impact studies been completed? Excuse me. I like a little water when I talk. This entire project has been engineered and designed to reduce noise impact. The stage location was set to minimize noise. The stage is approximately 500 feet from the closest resident to the west. Given the vegetation behind the stage, it is expected between 40 and 64 decibels, 5 or 8 decibels per 100 feet of vegetation, should it be mitigated through the natural buffer. Sounds will be projected towards White Oak, where the closest resident is at 1,000 feet from the stage. The stage structure and the pavilion structure are incorporated into a natural slope on the site to create a bowl effect and will be constructed of acoustical materials to mitigate sound. We're not hosting, 100,000 people here with Metallica playing and, and all this stuff. So, why not? Well, I'm going to try, but we'll see what we can do. But so to think that I'm going to be sitting on my porch on Parrish and hearing it, I don't think that's going to happen. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Trust me, I'd be the first one to complain. I live right across.
What's that?
I'd be the first one to complain. I live right across from
I
there.
would get you the sheet to fill out for your complaint, sir. Yeah. How many seats are planned in the amphitheater? The open air facility does not have published seating capacity, but it is estimated that the main area will hold about 2,500 people with additional space in the entry plaza under the covered pavilion. Again, we'll get to it on a later slide to where you see what events we are planning on having there and what future events are. So will we have 2,500 people there? Guess what? When Freedom Fest is there, I'm going to say absolutely. When you have a big special event, our opening night of Christmas in the park, so on and so forth, I think we will have a lot. But again, this is mostly for our park projects. And like I said, I'll go into it in a couple more slides of what those are. Will you go ahead and go to the next one? What is the maximum occupancy for the splash pad? There are no regulations for capacity, but based on vendor recommendations of 1 user per 25 square feet, the wetted area has a capacity of 100 active users, and the total splash pad area has a capacity of 300. The dry play area has a capacity of 120 users also. I'm hoping we run into this problem, that we get this many kids, and I believe we will. With what we got going on, and you'll see some of the pictures here shortly, I think compared to the area and compared to our splash pad on Huron Lake, it's night and day. So I think that'll be a good problem to have for anyone who has kids. Myself, I plan on camping out there for a while.
My kids are too old now
Right.
to do this, but when they were littler, I could imagine myself having like a birthday party here rent a room,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like the 2-hour room, do your pizza and your cake,
Yeah.
let them have at it at the water park, dry play area, and you're done.
No cleanup at home.
No cleanup, yeah.
You're great. Let us do the work. We go to the next one? What are the planned hours of operation for both the amphitheater and splash pad? The splash pad is a seasonal and will likely be open from 9 a.m. to dusk. The amphitheater will accommodate the majority of the town's events, so hours of operation will vary depending on each event, but will open no earlier than 9 a.m. and close no later than 10 p.m. Again, we are moving a lot of our smaller, farmers markets, things like that, to this location to where everything is going to be out of this place.
Well, and it's not even necessarily that they're smaller. What's happened is that our events have outgrown their current spaces. So the farmer's market currently, I think that we are, Shelby can get up to 50 vendors in the community parking lot, but how much longer is, not community anymore, I'm sorry, but Powers Health, how much longer are they going to allow us to use their parking lot? And Shelby has a waiting list, like miles long, of people who would love to participate, but just can't due to space-related issues. Like Boo Bash at Prairie West Park, a lot of times we have to go to where you have to sign up, and then you hit a maximum, so we're turning residents away. We don't want to do that anymore. So we're really looking for a space where we can accommodate everybody who lives here.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. Can we go to the next one there, Ashley? And we're almost done. Are there any renderings of the project? So here we are. You can see a little bit of a layout of what we have. You start down your hill area, your slope area where your stage is, your electrical room, and your loading area and green room. Then you have your, I don't know, what would you call it, grassy knoll? Grassy hill? Then we're
Grassy
moving
knoll.
up to the open air covered pavilion. And again, I want to make sure that everyone kind of notices the greenery that's being put in there also, the landscape. It's not just one big concrete jungle. We've taken some time to make sure that it's not just serving a great purpose, but it's also pleasing to the eye. We didn't want it to make it look like a big brick institution in the middle of, of a field. So I'm good on that. We go to the next one. Here is the draft site plan renderings. Again, you can see plenty of parking where you won't see people across the street in neighborhoods or thing. I think it's out there for, as of right now, 370 paved, 370 paved spots. And then we have all the overflow parking there in the area right above it.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see how the roundabout that was discussed previously kind of flows into the project
With the extra lanes too.
with the extra lanes, yep.
If we can go to the next one. This is, and I know it's a little bit, could you zoom in a little bit, Ashley? No, well, it's a PowerPoint. So this is our layout, a little bit close-up of our stage, a different view of it on the right. And then our layout for our community rooms on the left, plenty of bathrooms, family changing rooms. There's not much, you could really point out from these drawings, but they are still under final review and design. So there may be a couple small changes before we move forward.
Well, you'll see there's the 3 community rooms that face out over that grassy area. The 2 on the left-hand side, there's a partitioned wall, so that can open up. It'd be 2 individual 30-person rooms or 1 60-person room. And then on the other right-hand side of the building, that's a 40-person meeting room. What's interesting about the design is that those door openings are going to be kind of like accordion-style doors that open completely up. So there's an opportunity for people to rent out those rooms if there's any sort of pavilioned event. Open up the doors, have you kind of like your group of people in there, like a suite. Yeah, like a suite. So that was kind of a new concept that we're doing in this that we haven't seen really anywhere else. I mean, really, when we went to look, Glenn, in Velpo, there was a restaurant on that, I don't know, is it a square? I don't know what they call it in Valpo. But a lot of the restaurants had that, and we were like, that would be really cool to incorporate that into this project, and that's kind of how it came to be. So that's kind of a unique feature. And then, food trucks, the open air pavilion should be tall enough to allow, I don't remember, Glenn would know, probably better, but X amount of food trucks and 10 by 10 tents and things of that nature.
Yeah, I forget what the actual numbers are, but there is, it would, depending on the season, whether you want the food trucks underneath the square or outside on the square, if it's a market event or if it's something else. I think there's accommodations for 5 or 6 food trucks in the what we call the food truck court. Underneath the pavilion there is about 8 to 10 food trucks underneath there. We've got good clearance there as well too. Everything's got power and water hookups for the food trucks to service there. And then I believe we were about 45 or 47 10 by 10 booths that could fit underneath this open air pavilion to host the farmers market, with some extra overflow areas on the green space between the parking and the what we're calling the entry plaza area as well too.
And there was a lot of thought given to the bathrooms as well, making sure, that we had enough stalls, because when we were researching from other municipalities, again, that have these type of amenities, bathrooms were always an issue. There just simply aren't enough. And then making sure for the splash pad that there are enough family-style bathrooms so people can change and things of that nature. So kind of on the right-hand side, there are 4 family bathrooms. And then on the left-hand side, going into the open air pavilion, I believe there's 1 additional family restroom as well. And then just, so. And all of the splash pad equipment will be kept inside the building as well, just to help keep things
Right.
preserved.
I'll add too that the bathrooms, the family restrooms on the outside of the building on the splash pad side are also changing facilities too, so they're sized to accommodate changing facilities in there too.
We can go to the next one. Here's our splash pad renderings. And again, if you've been to our one in Huron Lake, you can see the difference with what we're trying to do here. Trying to spice it up and make it bigger, better than what we had. Give a little bit of everything to everyone. Glenn and the crew has been pretty adamant, so I would turn it over to him to go over some of the.
Well, a
The
backstory
features.
though, Anne wanted that pool. I mean, Anne, because the surveys came out for the pool, but
Right.
when you started to run the numbers, it's just a pool is not financially feasible for our community as badly as we may want one. I would have loved one as well.
At this point.
At this point.
At this point.
It's just at this point. So when we kind of made the shift over to a splash pad, Anne was like, it can't just be like any splash pad then. If we're going to forego the pool, it needs to be a destination-style splash pad. So
Where I might consider going.
where she might consider going. You'll see Anne going down the slides here, but
Under the bucket.
yeah, under the bucket. But
Yep, I'm gonna see that.
so yeah, that's how we arrived here.
See Christian go down. Oh, I'm headed down there, baby.
Yeah, if we can go to the.
So there'll be cabanas,
Yeah. So okay. Well,
yeah, and different features
I think
here.
that's we'll find Christian there.
That's my speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the cabana.
I'm
Out of the sun.
I'm cabana
There you
speed.
go.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So this is our dry play area that the kids can go back and forth and again, when we went through different designs, these were the ones that popped on us. I can also say we recently asked also for a zip line. We have one at Gates Park, and it is constantly. I took my son there, and he had to wait in line for it because that's how popular it was. So we wanted to incorporate it into this also.
All the pickleball players too take a swing on that
You got-
zip line.
Yeah.
They do. You need to go check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So again, giving them both the splash pad and the dry option for when they get a little bit tired of being in the water, they're going to run over there, go down the slide, run around with their friends or cousins, whoever. And I think it's a good mix on both.
And Bill, I'll just add too
Yeah.
that the way that this project is set up and built into the hillside here, the way that everything's going to kind of work out is that this dry play area is going to be lower than the splash pad area. So, there will be some, it'll all be ADA accessible going from the top down to the bottom, but there will be some steps. We also are working to incorporate a embankment slide. So it'll be built into the hill that kids can slide down the hill to that lower level. We've got some swings planned as well. We really want to make this, a fully encompassed, larger kids, smaller kids. We've got two different, splash pad structures. We'll have that 5 to 12 play area, as well as that 2 to 5 play area. We even incorporated that water table feature into here to extend season a little bit. With real tiny kids, they'll be able to go in there, play with the water without getting super wet. Same thing, 2 to 5 play on the smaller structure here. With that 5 to 12, this is one of the biggest structures that Landscape Structures makes. It's going to be a nice breakdown here. So there's a lot to offer here. Whether you want to be, getting the dry play, getting the wet play, it's going to be a nice park.
Beautiful. Thanks. I'm gonna go to the next one there, actually. Why are there community rooms if we now have a community center? The community center is a 6,600 square foot facility in size and holds up to about 250 people. It's one open space designed for larger town events and private rentals. The 3 community rooms at this location are similar in size, in accommodating 30 to 60 people each. These rooms are designed, like I said, for smaller town programs, smaller private rentals. The rooms will also have the accordion-style doors that fully open towards the stage to make an excellent option for group rentals during concerts and other stage-based events. And back to what I mentioned earlier, what types of events will be held there? Our farmers market, our Boo Bash, our Freedom Fest, Christmas in the Park, Touch a Truck, National Night Out, Puppapalooza, seasonal fests and markets, Luck of the Hunt, some private rentals, Easter egg hunt, concerts in the parks, movie in the parks, food festivals, car shows, our community shred day, which outgrew its place here. We were able to move it over to Clark Middle School this year. Park programming for seniors, adults, and youths. Fitness classes, some theater and some plays. And we also had a couple of corporate events that someone already asked us about. So we're, again, looking forward to it and seeing where we're at. There was one question, you can go to the next one. I'll go on this one first, but there was also a question about the bonds overlapping and a payment. We'll be making double payments. The building court bond will fall off at the end of 2025. Our payments on these will not start until 2026, so we will not see a overlap in payments. To the last slide, who can I contact if I have further questions? Mike Bovat, Christian Jorgensen, Ann Oster, Wayne Pondinas, Gerald Sweats, Beth Hernandez, and again, myself. I saved the best for last, so you can call me at any time. My number's on there, my email is on there. Mm-hmm. And that is our presentation on those questions.
Well, thank you for that, Billy. I mean, that was a lot of information, and I think, like it was pointed out previously, that most of this has been disseminated previously, so this was kind of just going back through it again. And Beth, I know you invested a lot of time, the team, Glenn, the council, just a tremendous amount of effort with this. Thank you to everyone.
Well, I want to thank Tom and Greg, too. like, the PowerPoint slide, I couldn't make that if I didn't look through your stacks of hundreds of papers and accounting, jargon, for lack of a better word, and all of that. So, like a previous town manager used to say, he would say, here, take this and just teacher it up. That's, one used to always say that to me, and so that's what I like to do.
I can say that it was teachered up
Yeah,
quite well, thank you.
teacher it up.
I don't think
So,
Beth is going to deviate from her teaching abilities anytime soon. That's kind of into her, and we love that.
so I'm wondering how our growth and how, if a lot of our growth is within the TIF, because we've got some great commercial stuff going on for future development that's going to raise our valuation. But if a lot of that is in TIF, how is that going to affect or will it affect our ability to make payments?
I mean, the town is taking advantage of every residential TIF that we can, so I don't know how that would negatively affect, our ability to make those payments. Greg?
Hello, again, Greg Walston, Baker Tilly. The development that would occur within TIF would be separate assessed value. That part is correct. It wouldn't affect the town's base. The numbers that were, I think, quoted, the average of 9.8% roughly over the past 5 years was the growth of the town's assessed value, not including TIF. So that was of the town tax base.
So the TIF was excluded from that. The TIF is additional, that's a whole separate, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, that's awesome. Because that's my biggest concern, is this is a big number, but it's a huge project. And I want to make sure that we can make the payments without increasing taxes for any of our residents.
That's right.
So that's my biggest concern. The other thing I had is, since we're moving Christmas in the park, can we forego that expansion of the Prairie
Well,
West parking lot?
I don't, listen, if you go back to that slide, it said, current events and proposed to move there.
Yeah.
I don't know that I love the idea personally of moving Christmas. I mean, Prairie West Park is in the central part of town.
That's where Christmas
So
in the
this is
park
like,
should
this
stay,
is
is
like
kind of
an
there.
internal argument that goes on periodically when they are like, move Christmas in the park here because it's just going to be, and I'm like, I don't know.
but-
Because so much has been invested into Prairie West Park.
I know, but if we're going to lose our parking because we're going to have a nice grocery store, our overflow parking from down the street.
Well, I know. See, I mean, here.
Well,
Whatever.
if this place is built, we can have parking over at Heartland Park and it just bust the people in.
Okay.
And you're gonna,
And even if with,
I apologize for asking the question, because it
no,
had nothing to do with this
I know.
project at all.
No,
I
but-
think, I mean, just to go on that also, I mean, even when Christmas in the park's not happening or an event's
Yes.
not happening, when you go by there on the weekends, and again, I still have a child of that age, sometimes I'm still parking, in the residential area.
Right.
So I think the expansion of the parking lot there is still a plus for that park itself. Just even if it did move, whether Beth, we end up going to blows on moving Christmas to the park, but Christmas in the park, but you're still gonna need that extra parking there for just the
very
park
little
use.
parking.
Yeah.
Very little
It's
parking
because,
there.
like, the way things have changed over time, all the neighborhood parks. People aren't using all those little neighborhood parks anymore. They're migrating to, like, our larger parks. So Prairie West, Heartland, Gates. Those of you who use the Gates Park, I would have never in my wildest dreams thought that parking lot on the, I don't know what side, the west side would fill up. But it fills up. Same thing that's happening at Prairie West Park, just regular users. Like that pavilion's rented constantly in the good weather, and just people that want to go use those facilities. Like you said, the parking lot's tiny.
You go down 93rd on the weekend, and that park is just, the parking lot's full with just people in the park,
Yeah.
without even renting the pavilion.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everyone, for that.
I was gonna ask
thank
Glenn a
you.
question.
And also,
Ask Glenn a question.
Mr. President, also, before I came out, I was also sent a letter that you may want to read into the record, someone who couldn't be here, when public comment finishes.
Okay, with public comment.
I was gonna ask Glenn, what's
Councilman Wayne?
the recycle time for the water? Do you know?
Yeah, so by state statute, it has to turn over within a half hour.
Okay.
There, it's a 6,000 gallon tank though, with 750 gallons per minute, so we should be significantly less than that. The state of Indiana also requires not only chlorination to disinfect the water, but they also require UV disinfectant too. There's stipulations in there for continuously monitoring too, that trips a switch, that if it does fall below that parts per million, the minimum parts per million, it's treated like a pool. Splash pads are treated like pools here when they are regenerated. So there's a lot that goes into this thing with that control system. So if it does, read an issue, it's going to stop.
And then we also took advantage of the land, how it slopes, so we're saving on some excavation.
Absolutely, yeah,
And then-
everything. We're minimizing our excavation on this project as much as we can, right? And the nice part is we do have 40 acres, 24-ish acres outside of this that we shouldn't have to haul any dirt off site here, unless you guys need it somewhere else in town.
And then where the stage is, and by the time you get up to where the other rooms are, was there an 8-foot?
It's about 7 feet, 7 to 8 feet of elevation between the low side and the high side here, which is very ideal. We've been talking to, or I've had some discussions as we're doing this, we need to make sure it's being done right. Bulldog Park is having a lot of retrofit issues. Valpo Central Park, they're having some acoustical issues now. So we're learning from these other, municipalities. Even the Portage facility that's hosting some bigger concerts, they're having some power draw issues out there. So we're working to incorporate those things now so that we don't have to do it later.
Okay, good.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
All these towns, they've been great to work with, and totally open about if we had to do over again, we do
Right.
this.
Absolutely.
So it's been kind of fun.
Yeah.
Good group to work with.
Sorry.
Thank you. Moving to number 4, public comment. Have a list here of several names. Trevor DeVries, you come up and give us your name and address, and everyone, we try to hold to 3 minutes because we have several people to speak. Thank you.
You timing me or am I timing myself?
I got you.
I'm just kidding. I won't be long. Trevor DeVries, I live at 9711 Acorn Drive. I'm the Precinct 4 Republican Precinct Committeeman. First off, I just want to say thank you to all of you that helped put that deck together. I know once the bond was starting to get talked about, a lot of questions started getting shouted at me, called at me, walking down the street. People were wondering what's going on. So having a consolidated slide deck like you guys put together, I think that's extremely helpful. So thank you all for that. Ultimately, when a lot of these questions started coming up about what's going on with the Heartland Park expansion, I tried to go in through everything, and when you start going through the virtual data room that we have through the Dropbox, things like that, you're trying to search for different items. So appreciate you guys putting all those different dates and times together that people can actually go back and say, hey, it was talked about, it was done. I know a 10% response to a survey is not great, but understandably so. You can't get everyone to respond to everything. I got a call from a survey company this week about Lake Central doing referendum to add more tax dollars already. So I know people don't want to get more tax dollars. But when I sit back, Luke 14:28 talks about know the cost before you start the construction. So a lot of people wanted to understand the cost of what was going to happen before we actually approve the bonds, the issuance of the bonds, and also start paying for things. So appreciate you guys going through all those questions that I had submitted previously and putting them all together. A couple other questions that, as we're kind of going through there, as we talked about, there will be that additional cost, people to go there and use the facilities. What's the anticipated cost? Is that per family? Is that individuals? Will there be different costs for residents and non-residents? And also, when the bond does fall off in 2025 and we get this new one, if we didn't do this additional bond, would we get a reduction in our tax bill? At the end of the day, a lot of people are concerned with SB01 happening this year and being passed in the future, that tax bills are going to go up and local cities and counties can do income taxes and additional tax assessments. So I think a lot of people are just nervous about the unknown going in the future. So that's one of my other questions. And then lastly, will that slide deck be available somewhere online? Do we have to do another FOIA request to see stuff like that? Like, what's the process to do that? And that's all my questions. So appreciate your listening.
So I can touch on a couple of those. As far as the 10%, the 10% of the people that came in and submitted to the survey, I mean, we're not that much different off than what comes out to vote. I can tell you from speaking to people who were here prior that they never got anything less than, more than 200 or 300 when it came to a survey. So I think this is something that really caught people's eye and their attention. And I think the amount of people that came through was just, I mean,
It was 3,000
The
people.
last,
Yeah.
the last, not this last one, but the one previous, the 5-year park master plan, you had 277 people participate in that survey. So I know that maybe 3,000 people that participated in this survey sounds, when you think 23,000 people.
Right.
But actually, that's a really strong number as compared to what you would typically see take, the time to complete a survey of that nature. And then the newest park master plan that you guys just completed also showed similar results to the findings of the survey. So, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but it really is a strong number.
It's tremendous, yeah. I don't think they've ever seen that many people respond, so.
No.
But you did
Well,
bring up a
yes.
good point. You said something in Luke about know the cost. That's the first thing. What's the cost, what's the project, and where's the money gonna come from? And then you got Baker Tilly, you got Senator Dalton to ask questions. I'm sorry,
Senator.
Barnes and Thornburg, I'm sorry. But that's what we did with the water bill. Billy was present, I was present, our water operator, and Beth. And we invited the public, we got 35 people maybe to come, and we told them why we were raising the rates. We had to raise the rates because we haven't done it for 14 years, and Baker Tilly said, you have to show cause, and the people that are gonna give us the money, they have to know what you're gonna do, how you're gonna get that money, so you can repay it, and that's what we did, and then we got the SCADA system, but we had that in every water bill, and we had like 35, 40 people to come, but we were open and up front, and we told people what we were doing. And some people didn't want to come, well, hey, just don't come then, I don't care. But that's what we believe in. And that's the first thing when something comes up, what's it going to cost?
Well, I've been here, since 2016. So this isn't the first time I think that this project has come, up for discussion. I mean, Christian, you were on a previous council, Jerry, you've been, it's something that's been discussed for many of years. It's just the timing wasn't right. It would make absolutely no sense to do a project of this magnitude while you had another bond sitting out there. So I think, that this council was really cognizant of making sure that the timing was right, that debt falls off, and then this debt comes on to make sure that things remain tax neutral. I mean, and it is important to note that St. John is the lowest tax rate in all of Lake County, Indiana. So, and we likely, knock on wood, the numbers aren't in yet, but I don't see a reason why we wouldn't remain there, even with this. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, I don't know. But I would venture to say we should still remain the lowest tax rate in Northwest Indiana.
And you have
80,
Jewel coming
right?
in.
mean,
Jewel's
yeah.
going to supply, going to be a big expansion for the town, 31 to 35 million coming in.
Not
that
in
they're-
Indiana.
That they're going to put into that. So, and again, we had Baker Tilly and our, and Barnes and Thornburg come in and explain that. And they were at 3 different meetings. They were up front. This is what's happening. And we didn't get any complaints. I mean,
A lot of it's been spoken to.
That-
Well, thank you, Trevor. And next on our list is Andrea Anila. Will you just give us your name and address?
Hello, I'm Andrea Avila, and I reside at 9275 West 103rd Place. I wanted to share that I am very eager to support the Heartland Expansion Project, which includes the amphitheater, splash pad, and playground projects which have been proposed. As a parent, I so appreciate options for things to do with my children in the summertime, and I look forward to St. John having this splash pad. I know my boys do as well. The amphitheater is going to give us another place to gather as a community. These are the sorts of quality of life improvements that are going to keep St. John a desirable place to live and raise our families. The bond to pay for these improvements is an investment that will more than pay for itself in the years to come. I'm excited for the growth, the new businesses, and the improved amenities that have taken place recently and are going on right now. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Rebecca Blanchard. And again, your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Blanchard. I live at 9149 West 103rd Place. My family moved here 5 years ago, one of our best decisions we've made. And one of the things we really missed, though, from our old neighborhood was the splash pad. I lived in Frankfurt, and they had a really awesome splash pad that we did pay for. As residents and non-residents, there was a difference for each. My family would like the town council to know that we support having an amphitheater and a splash pad, so we don't have to go elsewhere to enjoy these activities. With a bond being taken out and structured mostly to be tax neutral, we believe this will be a great investment for our town. And we know a lot of families that are looking forward to enjoying these activities as well. Thank you for all that you are doing, and have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea Rivera.
Hello, Council. My name's Andrea Rivera. I live at 9174 West 103rd Place in St. John. I would like this time to show my support for the build of the Heartland Amphitheater and the splash pad in St. John. In my opinion, this type of space will bring families and community together while creating revenue. When I look for online searches and things to do and take my family to, I'm getting hits for surrounding areas, and there's nothing in St. John like this that I can bring them to. So we're always going to Bulldog Park and spending our money there, taking our children there. And although it's a very nice space, I mean, it is kind of small too, so we're like gathering on that, grassy area, the fake grass, the turf. It is a good time, but I would love to see something like that in St. John that we could go to and enjoy, spend our money, and have some adult beverages. Also, St. John is ranked one of the wealthiest communities in Northwest Indiana, and we should offer a space like this where families can go to enjoy that space and spend their money in our own town. After seeing the renderings, I'm really excited to take my family there and enjoy some time. Thank you, and you guys have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose, I have a Jose. Not sure the last name, if you could help me. Negretti. And then name and address, please, again.
8800 Orchid Drive. I would like to thank you guys for a moment to say that I support the amphitheater and the splash pad in our community, excuse me, as a social worker and someone that understands the needs of community. I strongly believe that these projects will only enrich the local quality of life and foster a sense of unity amongst the residents. I know there may be concerns with the new bond, but we have to remember that it's going to be structured mostly tax neutral. With that in mind, we have to look at the long-term investments in our town that will only create community engagement, increase property values, plus we want St. John to be a place where people want to live and be proud residents who live in it. As a father with 2 children, I support these projects, and I'm so excited to do things within my own town instead of going out to different towns enjoying activities with my family. These projects are long overdue, and I'm sure other families will appreciate them now and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail May, say. Hope I got that right, ma'am. If you give us your name again and the address.
It's Gail Magsaysay, 8234 Meadow Lane. You've answered my question, so thank you. But I believe my neighbor, who did not have an opportunity to...
Not a problem.
Can I talk from here? I have a loud voice. I can't walk
Thank
very
you.
well.
Sure, absolutely.
My name's Marissa Durbin, 8215 Meadow Lane in St. John. Sorry if I'm talking, yelling in your ear. How many parks do we have in St. John?
At one time, I think we had like 32.
No, It's
I think we're up 29,
20, 28,
28, 29.
Does that include Wrigley Field?
It does.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
number would include any park open space, Wiggly Field, Tot Parks, neighborhood.
Because I know there's one on West 90th, there's one on Oakwood, a
Yep.
little park that's hardly, I mean, those don't seem to be used. So what, we have 29? Is that?
A lot of times what happens is when a development comes into town, the developer brings a park, and then the park ends up getting donated to the town, which we're thankful for, but then we have to upkeep it. So there is quite a lot of talk. I know that, again, this is something that's been going on since, well, Mike Bovat, you were on the park board.
Well, we
and
looked
even
at that.
Previous to that, it's just such a tough decision that it would be, and I'm not advocating that this is what should happen, but maybe, starting to look at downsizing some of the smaller parks and investing, like I'm not saying that's what you're mentioning, but into the parks that are actually being used. It's just such a tough call, because if it's your neighborhood park, even if you're not using it, nobody wants to see it.
But if it's in older areas, some of the areas I know, there's not kids there.
Yeah. Yep.
And no one's looking through the seniors' eyes here. People have families and kids, and they want all this entertainment and everything, but when you become a senior, and this happened to me unexpected, you have to watch everything. Because when you turn around, you can't work anymore, you're on Social Security. And then Lake Central's already yelling at us about the SB1 going through, about, oh, we need more money, and everyone needs more money everywhere. We've got a splash pad in Heron Lake. Can anyone go to that, or is that just Heron Lake's splash pad?
Anybody can go to it.
Anyone can go. Is there one in the gates?
Not a splash pad, no.
Okay. Anything in the gates, pickleball, the skating board thing, isn't there a skating board, something or other?
Skate park.
Yeah.
Skate park. What else is in the gates?
Pickleball court.
I'm sorry?
Soccer field, pickleball courts.
Okay, so all those things we're paying for in the gates, right?
Well, park impact fees.
It's not just the subdivision.
So how that all was funded is through our park impact fees. That's not paid for through tax-generated funds. So basically what happens is any new development or that comes into town, on their building permit, they're paying a fee. So right now it's in the $2,000 range. Those fees are collected and generated in order to fund projects like the pickleball court, the skate park, and, the playground, and things of that nature. So even when the town is making upgrades to parks that are currently, spread out throughout town, it's not being maintained or upgraded through tax money, it's being maintained and upgraded through park impact money, which is the new development. So builders, developers, they're the ones who have to pay for that fee on a building permit, as to not burden everybody else, the taxpayers.
And the amphitheater, the one in Lake Hills, that's the town pays for that?
That's paid again through the park impact fees, not tax-generated funds.
So you're saying that it will not raise the taxes if we have the 9.8% assessment growth per year? Is that what you said?
If we have a 3% AV growth,
Okay.
perfect point. 3% AV. We've exceeded 3% AV for over 5 years now.
And you're saying
So-
that's yearly, not every 4 years? Would
No,
there be a
that's
assessment?
yearly,
Okay.
which is the importance of AV, which I've tried to stress every time that I'm here. These kinds of projects and the commercial projects that we're actually bringing in, have been successful at bringing in, Kmart, whatever, raise the AV of the town. With the raising of the AV, they reduce your taxes here in the town, which are already the lowest that you're going to pay in Lake County anyway. But nonetheless, it will continue to go down with the increase of AV. But how do you increase AV? You bring in commercial, you bring in amenities like this for people that want to come, then you attract more commercial businesses and other items that raise your AV and reduce your taxes, which is why they go hand in hand. Now, just to speak to your other point as well, very briefly, and I don't want to get into it, if you live in a community with a homeowners association, if you do, I assume that you're active in it. If you are, and let's just say you had a park that's not being used because the residents now all moved out with kids, and the town owns it, and the homeowners association wants to take it over, they can certainly approach the town and approach Billy for a different use for it, and all of you homeowners who are there, your seniors or whomever, can find a use for it that would better suit your needs, and that would be a way to go about that, that I would suggest, if that's actually happened. And we would be more than happy. If there's an unused park, we would be more than happy as a town, I'm sure, to go ahead and give that to the homeowners association and for an approved space that you folks or the folks in that community would like to use. So that's a good means to go about it for anybody who's concerned about that with an older subdivision or something like that.
A gazebo, sitting area.
Sure.
To where seniors can just sit in.
Yeah.
More oriented to adults, not.
Right.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I mean. So, I mean, I would look to your homeowners association and do that. If there's nobody there using it and homeowners association moves, talk to Billy.
But these areas aren't homeowners associations. They're back from the 60s and the 50s and.
Well, even a lot of those still have them. So it's not, but that doesn't mean that you can't, as a collective community, approach a town and want to collectively start one, a homeowners association, and purchase it, and or take it off our rolls for maintenance, and then you guys would pay in and create whatever it is that you wanted to do, and that would probably satisfy your needs or anybody else's needs in that kind of community. I'm just saying that's one way of being able to do it. So
Is there going to be an entrance fee for these concerts at Heartland Park?
I would hope so.
Okay, for residents or just non-residents?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would expect that residents would probably pay more, or at least I would hope so.
Non-residents.
Huh?
Non-residents.
Non-residents.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. I thought-
Non-residents.
okay,
No,
non-residents.
residents would pay a lower fee than non-residents. Correct.
And there'll also be free shows there also.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's going to be free events and things like that. We're not going to charge for absolutely everything. We're not going to be an onerous community. But no, there's some things that actually cost money. And if you go to Bulldog, which I have to go to as well, as people spoke about before, to do anything and go down 231, I also have to pay. And I don't know another one who doesn't charge a fee. It's pretty customary, and you have to recoup the cost somehow. But you're also providing an amenity that you wouldn't be able to necessarily do so if you didn't do that. So that's just part of the residents also giving back to the community, even though they have the lowest tax rates in Lake County.
All right, thank you, Larissa. And then I have one comment that was sent in to the town manager I'd like to read for a public comment. Members of the town council, thank you for the consideration of the town's wants and needs for the development of the 40-acre parcel located on the corner of White Oak Avenue and 109th Avenue. It will be a great benefit to the town and help assess in providing more amenities and a venue for activities for family, friends, and the residents of the town. As a resident of the town, I am in support of this project and look forward to enjoying the amenities once completed. Sincerely, Matt Rohr. And he's at 10955 West 93rd Avenue. And that's basically all I have for public comment. Did anybody else care to speak that did not speak? Okay, then with that, we're going to move on to item 5, approval of minutes, June 11th, 2025, Town Council meeting. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, agenda items. A, financial matters of the corporation. Number 1, request to purchase. There are a total of 5 requests to purchase and the combined total of $93,755.05 for approval. Beth, could you speak to these?
Sure, you have one for Altifer Cat, which is for a mini excavator in the amount of $43,475. Your second is to Russo Power Equipment, and that is for a Toro Dingo trencher attachment with chain and boom. That's $6,740. You have 2 for Ferguson Waterworks, various different water-related supplies. And then you have Austin Electric to remove and replace a light pole for $5,046.
Thank you for that, Beth. Do I have a motion for request to purchase?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 2, accounts payable voucher dated June 25th, 2025, representing payment for payroll, supplies, services, and equipment rendered to the town of St. John in the combined total of $1,346,927. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question on a couple of these items. They seem, there's a couple items there for Freedom Fest that we haven't even had yet, and I'm wondering if it's normal that we pay these in advance, or are we holding that payment until after Freedom Fest?
Those are on your docket now, so that when Freedom Fest occurs and you have certain vendors, you can pay them at the event, rather than making them wait another month to receive payment.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you're kind of like pre-noting their check.
Okay. Thank you.
Nobody likes to wait to get paid.
Truly.
Unless anybody out there does, and I like to hear from them, because I certainly don't
I
like
don't
to.
think so. Accounts payable voucher, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 7, ordinances and resolution. We do not have any. Moving on to item 8, town council action. Consider agreement with Core Construction. And I think we're going to have a presentation from the Core. If you could give us your name, please?
Geis Van Baron. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, council people, thank you so much for the consideration and opportunity to present to you this evening. So my name, once again, Geis Van Baron, Vice President here at Core Construction. As we go through, just a short presentation here, but if we could go to the next slide, please. Just a brief history of who we are and where we came from. So we're a grassroots company born out of the Midwest here just about 90 years ago in Morton, Illinois. And if you fast forward from now till then, where have we gone? We've grown as a national company, if you want to go to the next slide here, to over 20 offices, really from Sacramento, California, down to Fort Lauderdale, and just about everywhere in between. So we've turned ourselves into a national company, really staying in the lanes of publicly funded work. In the educational and civic spaces is where we live. If we go to the next slide, we can see kind of highlighting our Midwest office, so we kind of panned out from our national firm to where we are locally. So a project like this, of course, will be done with our local region rats, almost if you want to call us, right? As our office is right there on 30 and 41 behind Burger House there, as you see in that picture. But we have over 100 employees in the Midwest company, and over 1,200 employees nationwide. So we have a deep bench. You know, there's never a fear of can the project be serviced or who's going to be on project. We have plenty of folks to do that. If we go to the next slide, one of the main things we hold sacred, right, which we have alignment with, you know, the town of St. John here, is a culture, right, as we've heard from folks tonight, and as all of you exhibit, the culture is everything for a community and for a company like Core. So where does that start? That first starts with core within ourselves, trusting one another. If we don't trust one another, then how can we serve you with trust? So that's the foundation of what our company was. There's a story for another time on how we were founded about the trust, but that's where it leads us. And with a project like this, if we go to the next slide, next two slides really, it's really where that fits in. So we have the town of St. John, we have SEH, CSK, and then core construction. And if you go to the next slide, really how that comes together is with that team approach and that collaborative approach when we look at projects. We can already see how SEH, CSK, and you all have already been working together. We're going to integrate into that to make it a stronger team, a better team, to make sure that this project gets pulled off on time, on budget. So if we go to the next slide, we're just going to highlight just a few projects, kind of from that national outlook again, then local. So we've done over 18,000 projects completed nationally, 3,000 of those in the civic space, over $3+ billion in civic projects. And then just highlights a few of our stats from a national level. If we go to the next slide, we'll bounce through these pretty quick, but locally here at the Dean and Barbara White Community Center, obviously very proud of that project, serving the town of Maryville down the street. Actually in conversations with them on expansion already of that facility. If we go to the next slide, Ileana Christian High School, that one's local, of course, here in St. John, right in by Shoe Corner, which I haven't seen too many shoes out there lately, but so right there, that project from really what this is, right, a dirt greenfield site to what it currently is. And then if we go to the next slide as well, we've done Cedar Lake Public Safety Campus. They finally did get water. I know water was a topic tonight, but they finally got water to that facility. So it's just about open. It's just about, but I know they have service there. So if we go to the next slide, kind of bringing it closer to home here, Bibbich Elementary. So that's a project that we completed for Lake Central School Corporation, just finishing up last year. And what I wanted to highlight here just briefly is kind of the expertise that we have in construction. A few of these slides, we'll just bounce through them real quick, but as we come in and develop or ingrain in the team, the current team here, we're going to be looking at the project from the different lenses of our expertise with constructability, schedule, coming alongside the engineer and architect, just understanding the project, where it's at, and then the needs for the community as well. And Bibbich Elementary is a similar story. And if we go to the next slide here, you can see as we were, maybe we'll just keep bouncing through them here quickly. You can see kind of an RFP schedule, so a schedule, for example, that everyone has in their head of how fast or how quickly this project can be pulled off. And then we bring our expertise in a little bit of a different lens. We kind of do our core review of the project initially, where that goes, and then ultimately, if you go to the next slide, really as we came together as a team and we looked at this with a team approach, we were able to improve that schedule in a quicker timeline, which saved ultimately the school district, in this case, over 6 figures of savings, just by manipulating and looking at the schedule. So I just wanted to highlight that as some things that we bring to the table that could be different than others, for sure. But once again, thank you for the consideration, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Let me just try to summarize just for a second, if I understand you correctly, for everybody else who's out there. So you keep our project at budget, or perhaps under budget if possible, deal with all the trades and the contractors and performing the work, and ensure that the schedule is done on time, and report to us on a regular basis. Is that basically your function?
That is correct. And my understanding, is there a project labor agreement in town?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah,
We'll be using,
we're familiar.
Local labor.
Yep, we're familiar with that. Other municipalities, town of Maryville, for example, has a PLA that we're familiar with working through and around that.
So what about any bid processes that go with this project?
Yeah, so we'll be.
Manage those?
Yeah, we'll handle it really from, getting with the engineering team and CSK, and when it is a bid-ready documents, when they're ready to go, we'll create and excite interest in the town, doing community fairs, really job fairs as we call it, to get that bidder, that base, excited about the project so they can understand it. They can understand the schedule, the needs, where that project's going to end up. And as we're hitting that, we want to make sure we hit that timing correctly and have enough excitement to create a competitive pool to get that number, as you were mentioning, down at where we need to be so we can hopefully be under budget on that project.
Okay, thank you.
And that's what I was going to ask you guys. So have you had experience where through the bid process, by bringing that type of situation together, you were able to save money for the client?
Absolutely. So there was one example at a similar school project, or a similar project, I should say, in dollar size, that we were able there again to save almost six figures on the project just by first through that job fair, or that trade partner fair, as we call them, to get excitement with that project. And then sometimes with that, we get the feedback from the local trade partners that we want on the job, that, hey, maybe we need to massage this a little bit, we noticed this on the drawings, or we noticed this on the drawings, or the schedule. And we were able to take that feedback and put that in the bid documents to create more of an interest, to get that cost more competitive, right? To create, hey, instead of 2 bidders per trade or 3 to 5 bids per trade, you might get 6 or 7. So that, just down the street at NILEA, the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, we brought that similar, we employed that similar logic, and were able to save that project 6 figures.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Okay, consider agreement with Core Construction. Do I have a motion?
Motion to consider and adopt agreement with Core Construction and have the signatory on the contract be able to sign, whether it be Billy or the president.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item B.
So, I'm sorry, so based on the motion, I would prefer it to be the president of town council as opposed to the town manager.
Okay.
So we're in control of that, and it's you. That's my preference.
I'm fine with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Billy, are you comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with whatever Jerry wants to do.
Yeah, he made the motion, I just.
Mr. Van Buren, well, we'll go ahead and scratch out any that might be on there and make sure that we put El Jefe.
Exactly. As long as it's El Jefe, we'll start, yeah, perfect. It's binding.
Done.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thank you all
Appreciate
very
the
much.
time.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B, board appointments, Fire Merit Board. Billy, if you want to comment.
Yeah, so the Fire Merit Board will be meeting soon. We have 3 individuals that we have on there. Those names are Dawn Wheaton, Ray Sales, and Rob Johnson. So I would ask for a motion and approval of those 3 individuals to sit on the Fire Merit Board.
Okay, we have 3 individuals for the Fire Merit Board. Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right.
I will make a motion to appoint
Dawn.
Rob Johnson,
Rob-
Dawn Wheaton, and Ray Sales.
those 3 individuals to the Fire Merit Board.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item C, motion to approve to extend a letter of credit in the amount of $6,654,298.75 to Astoria to August 18th, 2026. There was a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Motion to approve agreement with Crown Point Christian School for School Resource Officer from August 1st, 2025 to July 31st, 2027. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Reports and correspondence. My colleagues, any comments from anyone?
I would imagine we'll report it out.
I have one thing.
Yes.
I would just like to thank the public for coming out to this meeting and speaking, because there's many times where we go through this process and we have no idea what anybody's thinking. For them to come out to this meeting and say whether they were they were all in favor, but I mean, even if it was the other way around, I just want to thank the public for coming out.
I
I agree too.
It's nice to see that input, absolutely. Wayne, I know you got something to say, right? No?
Well, you know what, I
Water,
got
man.
this book, Gone with the Wind, I'd like to read that right now. No, the water.
Filibuster.
What?
That's what we're gonna get.
Wells 8 and 9, they're going along. 8, they got the foundation poured, everything, so hopefully by the end of the year, one of those will be running. Other than that, everything's going good.
Okay, I'd just like to comment that there's been a lot of work, a lot of effort put forth on these projects. The council has worked well together, and I think what affords us the opportunity to be successful is the town manager, the council, the clerk's office, the attorneys, our financial investors, the architects. I mean, it is such a huge effort. I personally just want to thank everybody for their participation, their involvement, and for doing what's necessary to do positive things that I truly believe our community wants. Thank you. If nothing else, move to the town manager. Billy?
Nope, no reports at this time.
All right, and to our clerk treasurer, Beth Hernandez.
Just quickly, Freedom Fest is July 5th. It's at Heartland Park again this year, 3 to 10 p.m. Fireworks start at 9:30, so we hope everybody can come out to enjoy. 20-plus food vendors. I'm going to go slower.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it, Beth. I was actually going to say, everybody come on out, and we will all be there. And please feel free to ask Jerry, Wayne, or Beth any and all questions you have, and to accost them at any point in time while you have them there, even if they're with their families and children.
Yeah, thanks, Christian.
And we haven't got the okay yet for a dunk tank for Christian.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure we
We're
can
still
make money.
looking.
That's on the back burner.
No user fees to dunk Christian.
Jerry's the only one I know with a Speedo, so I mean, I don't have one. I
Okay,
I
with
think
that,
it'd be appropriate.
with that, we will, thank you, Beth, and with that, we'll move to item 10.
Pickleball, too. Pickleball, I wasn't,
I'm sorry.
pickleball this Friday at the
June
gate.
27th.
June 27th, 6 p.m., grand open, or ribbon cutting. It's going to be a good time, so
Yep.
if you can make that, that would be good, too.
New pickleball courts in the gates with the lighting, and I tell you what, they love their pickleball. So, thank you for that, Beth. Without further ado, item 10, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor, say